always knew I was different, but I never imagined that difference would be used against me by the very people I called family. I was adopted when I was 6 years old. My parents couldn't have children naturally, so when they chose me, I thought I had won the ultimate prize, a family, a home, a name that would finally mean something. Growing up, I tried to fit in, to erase the small reminders that I wasn't born into the family but brought into it. My sister, Emily, was born 3 years after I arrived. She was their miracle child, the one everyone celebrated. I adored her. I helped with her homework, shared my toys, and even gave up things so she could have more. But as we grew older, the difference between us became more visible. Not just in our faces, but in how our parents treated us. Still, I believed love would overcome everything. That was until my father passed away 2 years ago. After his death, the cracks in the family widened into chasms. My mother became distant, and Emily started treating me like I was a guest in my own home. I told myself it was grief, that time would heal it. But time, I learned, doesn't heal everything. It only reveals what was buried beneath. A few weeks ago, Emily invited me to her birthday dinner at an upscale restaurant. I was hesitant because we hadn't spoken much lately, but she insisted. "It's family," she said, her tone sugar-coated but sharp. So I went. I even bought her an expensive gift, something thoughtful. An engraved bracelet with a quote about sisterhood. I wanted to bridge the gap, to show I still cared. When I arrived, everyone was already there. My mother, Emily's friends, and a few cousins. The table was long and elegant, filled with laughter and glasses clinking. But when I walked up, Emily looked at me and said, "Oh, we're kind of full here. Maybe you can grab a seat at that table over there." She pointed to a small table in the corner. Empty, isolated, humiliating. I froze. Everyone went silent for a second, then resumed laughing like nothing happened. My mother said nothing. She didn't even look at me. I wanted to walk out, but something inside me told me to stay. Maybe it was pride. Maybe it was the desperate hope that it was all just a misunderstanding. So, I sat alone at that small table while they ate, laughed, and took pictures. The waiter brought me a separate menu, one that was twice as expensive, and I quietly ordered the cheapest thing I could find. The whole night, Emily didn't even acknowledge me. When dessert came, she finally stood and made a toast about family and gratitude. I clapped, forcing a smile. Then the bill came. The waiter handed it to Emily and she smirked. "Actually," she said loudly, "can you give that to her?" And pointed at me. Everyone turned. My stomach dropped. I blinked, thinking it was a joke. But the waiter placed the folder in front of me. Inside was a total of $5,120. I laughed nervously, waiting for someone to say it was a mistake. No one did. Emily tilted her head, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "You know, since you've always wanted to feel like part of the family, maybe this is your way of contributing." The room erupted in quiet chuckles. My face burned. I looked at my mother, but she avoided my eyes. That was the moment I realized I wasn't family. I was a placeholder, a convenient story they used to show kindness when it suited them. I paid the bill. My hands trembled as I handed the card to the waiter, my chest heavy with shame and anger. I walked out before they could say another word. That night, I cried until my eyes ached. But as the tears dried, something else replaced the pain: clarity. I had spent years trying to earn love that was never mine to begin with. They saw me as less, and I had accepted it because I thought that was what love looked like. I decided I was done being their afterthought. A week later, Emily got engaged, and the family was buzzing with excitement. My mother called to ask if I'd contribute to the wedding fund, like a good sister. I almost laughed. Instead, I said, "Of course," and started planning. I knew this was my moment, not for petty revenge, but for justice. I offered to handle the venue booking as a gift. Emily bragged to everyone about how I was finally being useful. What she didn't know was that I had every detail written in my name, every contract, every reservation, every payment authorization. I spent weeks making sure it looked perfect. The venue was high-end, the catering top-tier, everything she could dream of. She even bragged online about how her adopted sister was footing the bill. Then came the big day. I showed up early, watched as everyone arrived, dressed to the nines, smiling, gossiping. Emily strutted in, glowing in her designer dress. She looked at me like I was invisible. When it was almost time to start, I quietly stepped out, went to the event coordinator, and canceled everything. The venue manager tried to confirm, but the signature was mine. And so was the authority. I left calmly as chaos unfolded behind me. Later, I heard that the caterers walked out, the decorations were removed, and the guests were asked to leave because of unpaid invoices. Emily was humiliated in front of everyone. She called me screaming, but I didn't answer. Instead, I posted a simple message online. Family isn't about blood, it's about respect. Some lessons cost more than others. People pieced together what happened quickly, and sympathy poured in from every corner. I wasn't trying to destroy her life. I was reclaiming mine. I used to think forgiveness was the only path to peace, but I learned that sometimes, peace means walking away with your dignity intact, and letting others face the reflection they've created for themselves. Since that day, I've moved cities, started a new job, and built a small but real circle of people who treat me like I matter. My mother tried calling once, but I didn't pick up. I'm done explaining my worth to people who never cared to see it. Now when I think of that night, the empty chair, the laughter, the bill shoved in my face, I don't feel pain anymore. I feel power. Because in the end, they didn't just lose a sister. They lost the best thing they never deserved. And as for Emily? Well, I hope she finally understands that you can't put a price on love, but you can certainly pay for your cruelty in full.